From drought situation in the country, to the cost of living, to the seeming tussle between the Kenya Kwanza government and the opposition, led by Azimio leader Raila Amolo Odinga, to arrests of the leaders yesterday of a protest of the high cost of living in the country. There is a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to the state of the country. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiaga. Thank you very much for choosing to begin your day with us right here on a Look Up Television. This is the Morning Drift. I'll be joined by Muguru Kimani and Iya Kintani shortly. But there's just a lot, like I've said, that we can focus on. You remember, if you want to be part of this conversation, then join us online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. All those comments, bring them in. We shall be looking at them before we end our broadcast right here today. But then, if you look at some of the recommendations, and I'll take you back to the fight against corruption. And I'll take you back to what the Auditor General, that is Ms. Nancy Gathungu, did say. And this is exactly what she said. She said, if you look at the way in which we steal money in this country, it's inevitable. To the point now that if we start telling Kenyans not to steal, it will be a losing battle. Maybe now we need to start a campaign of stealing Kenya in a vest in a Kenya. A polarizing comments right there. And she said that you might think I'm crazy, but then when you look at the implementation of the reports that have come from her office, if you look at how many red flags have been raised from our office and what those reports have done, then you would like to think that all of them are just collecting dust in our office. Really, one of the offices in this country that have been rendered useless, either by design or by members of parliament really failing to act on the reports from the Auditor General office, it is that particular office. So you wonder, why do we install an Auditor General who releases reports that are never acted upon? So now she's saying, maybe now, because we can't stop misappropriation, we can't stop corruption as a country, maybe we say those who steal in the country, they should be asked to invest in the country. Think about it. It is money right here within the country, because I don't think it will be moving outside. And that is where she's coming from. Talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Do you think we need to say, if you steal, invest right here in the country? Because there will be money right here in the country. Because if you stash it somewhere else, it will be gone and gone. There are proposals again about how the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has invited public comments on its proposal to abolish non-practicing allowance in a public service. One of those areas then that we also need to talk about. Do you think, again, for non-practicing allowance, that is something that we need to abolish? Also, you need to talk to that as well. That's one area that we also need to look into. As the week continues, we shall be summarizing this as well, so we can actually get to look into these particular areas. Also talk to us. Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. We'll be glad to know where you're watching from as well this morning. On our Facebook, on our YouTube platforms as well. Take a tiny breather once we come back. The news. Welcome back. Pokot South Member of Parliament David Pkosing, Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, appeared before the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, over allegations of using his chopper to transport bandits. Pkosing, who was accompanied by his lawyer Danstan Omari, said they will cooperate with the DCI officers in their investigations.
Pokot South Legislator David Pkosing was the guest at the DCI's headquarters Tuesday. Pkosing, who was grilled by the sleuths last week for allegedly funding banditry in the North Rift, expressed his happiness, claiming that he has no relationship with the livestock thieves.
And I think I want to thank our DCI for remaining professional, because these stories were based on two things. One, they were based on malice that if a Pokot owns anything, he should not own at all. So let's create propaganda to bring down on my business. And all these stories hot air. Ya kusema ndege ya mheshimiwa kuna ndege mbili na ndege hiyo nyeupe or that white chopper that is carrying guns all over the place, according to social media and those propaganda, now today has been brought to rest by the police. That's why I was called. Because last week on Friday, they said they're going now to look at do forensic examination of the two choppers, and first of all to say which one is ya mheshimiwa, gani ya mheshimiwa. So when they went there, they found
the abrasive lawmaker dismissed allegations of funding bandits in his region and petitioned the government to use an operational method that will benefit the natives of West Pokot County.
There's another second operation done by Kibaki, which was the best operation, where you bring army. Because the problem there is socio-economic. Kibaki brought army, and then the army ended up building roads, they built bridges, they built hospitals, they even drilled water for our people in West Pokot. And I'm urging them, you have now gone, the Askaris have gone there, and they have seen these people have no alternative in terms of social economic. So build them schools. Let these children go to school. There is no school there. Build them hospitals. They are being massacred by tsetse flies, by mosquitoes. Build them hospitals, build them water. These people are drinking even urine of a cow.
Pkosing, who was flanked by other leaders, claimed that the area of West Pokot has been discriminated because the search of KDF officers has been done in that county only.
Every Kenyan will attest to me. No Kenyan is thinking of operation in Turkana. No Kenyan is thinking of operation in Isiolo, where we've got deaths recently. No Kenyan is thinking of operation in Elgeyo Marakwet or Baringo. Everybody is thinking about West Pokot. Why? Because the Pokots are the only ones that are considered to be bad. But if I ask you a question today, who killed the people in Isiolo yesterday evening? Who killed the two soldiers in Turkana County yesterday night? Is it the Pokots? Nobody will want to say it's somebody else.
Lead lawyer Danstan Omari also criticized the government while he is expected to appear before the Department of Investigations tomorrow, claiming that his trouble is resulting from representing opposition MPs in the courts.
To allow the police to go and take the photos of the two choppers. So the police went on Saturday. They only found that only one chopper is owned and registered in the name of Mheshimiwa. So the police have confirmed Mheshimiwa does not have two choppers. Always told people that all these political cases will not succeed. Number two, now that these are the ones being arrested, I've now got to defend them. When I was defending Tanga and when I was defending UDA members, it was not a crime. But now it's a crime when I'm defending the Azimio members of parliament.
Here at the DCI headquarters, Member of Parliament Pokot South, David Pkosing, is now set free after the allegations of him being associated with the bandits in the northern part of Kenya. Gladys Masharia, Look Up TV.
A heated debate was Tuesday witnessed in the chambers of the Senate as senators from both sides of political divides tried to prove their point on the new minority leadership. As a reporter, Shada Kareria now reports, Azimio senators have defended the move by the Azimio coalition of replacing minority ship or whip, as the Kenya Kwanza posts the move.
The proposal by the Azimio One Kenya coalition to replace the Isiolo Senator Fatma Dulo as the minority whip has continued to stir political temperatures in the chambers of the Senate.
that the dispute here is between Senator Fatuma Dulo and her party.
Azimio senators supporting the new leadership with Narok Senator Ledamo Lekina as the proposed minority whip to replace Dulo.
I want to beseech you so that we can now discuss matters which are important to this nation. Please follow the standing orders. Standing order number 23, your hands are completely tied. And I'm sure the Secretariat can advise as much. Your hands are tied, issue the communication, leave matters of political parties to be dealt by politicians outside this House.
Mr. Speaker, you may ignore the standing orders, but you cannot ignore precedents.
However, the legislators will have to wait for a little longer before the minority whip is sworn in. While addressing the matter, Senate Deputy Speaker Gathuri Murungi stated that the office of the Speaker received a letter from the political party's dispute tribunal asking for the postponement of the process.
This afternoon at 1:15 p.m., the Speaker of the Senate was served with an order from the political party's dispute tribunal in political parties dispute tribunal number PPDTC.
The letter was highly opposed by the Azimio senators as they accused Murungi of taking sides.
That tribunal order has not been served upon myself. It has not been served upon my brother Lekina, and it has not been served on any side of the minority.
Where do you want to take us to now? If we start setting precedent that we'll be receiving orders from a tribunal and you communicate from your chair, Mr. Speaker, I tell you, not even a counter assembly can do what we're doing.
Give this House a dignity that has been given by those who came before us. Ensure that we are respected by all organs of government, and please do what the right thing is.
The Kenya Kwanza senators, however, supported the decision.
And leaders, we are with you. You are with us. You are for us. We are for you, for the country. Don't come here and play games. Let this thing end quickly through the due process being respected instead of coming here taking us around.
Dulo was kicked out after her, together with the other Jubilee MPs, met President William Ruto at the State House, where they agreed to work with him.
Loyalty to the party is the #1 principle when it comes to the doctrine of pleasure.
Shadrack Kareria, Look Up TV.
You cannot compel the Speaker to make a decision.
There are 244 Kenyans are battling it out for 50 Bwana slots available for the Chief Administrative Secretary's positions after a court gave President Ruto the green light to fill them. Even as these men and women await their fate, there's scanty information to that regard. The roles and functions of Chief Cabinet Secretary and the ministry. Our reporter Henry Tender sat down with the Executive Director of Raya Trust, Oliver Waindi, to understand what is expected of them and files the following report.
The positions of Chief Administrative Secretaries were first formed by retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, key allies of the former president occupying majority of the slots available in various ministries. Constitutional experts have raised their concerns about the CAS posts, arguing they go against the structure of the Constitution. However, the judiciary has set the record straight by ruling the positions are in order. In the face of the ruling, there are still questions about the exact roles and responsibilities men and women who will be appointed by the head of state will perform. Well, according to Oliver Waindi, Executive Director at Raya Trust in Nairobi, there are no well-defined roles for CAS position.
Previously, we used to have a cabinet secretary, we used to have a minister and an assistant minister. Now we don't have that. No, we have an equivalent of a minister called cabinet secretary, but the assumption is that these people will be assistant cabinet secretaries, basically speaking.
He describes CA's role as assistant to the cabinet secretary, just the way assistant ministers were to ministers in the old constitution dispensation. As debate rages on whether or not as a country we need the chief administrative secretaries in ministry already filled with cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, Waindi says the office of CAS only serves to reward political loyalists to the sitting president.
We've got, 8 or 10 former governors? And you ask yourself, why would a former governor come down to compete for a position like a CS? So it tells you that probably they're not meant for you and I. That is the assumption, because these are people who have built their names in politics, and they're possibly comprising more than 50 or 60% of the list. So it tells you, obviously, that this thing is much more political than you would imagine your ordinary shortlisting taking place.
Waindi additionally says the posts are unnecessary burden to the taxpayer and only serves to strain the national budget.
There is suspicion on one hand that maybe we have a system overload when it comes to people in various ministries, and the fewer would have been the better. When we have them that big in terms of numbers, obviously it drains our resources as a country, because a CS is just one person, but he comes with an entire office. We talk about security, we talk about office assistants, we talk about a fleet of vehicles, we talk about his pension or her pension. And so we are looking at wholesomely a very big figure from one person. If you consider that in this context of the economy that we are grappling with, then I would say it's probably unnecessary.
Nonetheless, Waindi has advised those who will be given the mandate to fill available slots to work for the development of the nation.
We just don't want people in offices. We want people in offices who produce results, because our country is yearning for some very positive and very forward-looking results insofar as the performance of these people are concerned.
Only time will tell whether they took his advice seriously or not. Henry Tende, Look Up TV.
Let's move on. Orange Democratic Movement legislators who met with President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi, have been asked to resign from the party and seek the position under different parties. ODM Ugenya branch leadership has claimed that the members of parliament have an agenda that is not aligned to Azimio la Umoja decision of not working with the Kenya Kwanza government. ODM members who met with President Ruto asked to resign from the ODM party.
As ODM party continue facing internal wrangles, Ugenya ODM branch chairperson Stephen Omondi has insisted that the MPs who visited President William Ruto have hidden agenda other than development.
There is no money for development or any resources of development that is found in State House, because the money that is for development belongs to the people of Kenya, and every Kenyan is entitled and has a right to get that development money regardless of where you come from, even if you didn't vote for the current regime.
Omondi has also condemned the legislators for asking Siaya Governor James Orengo not to visit their constituencies.
Current governor of Siaya County is none other than His Excellency James Agri Orengo. And anybody purporting to declare and say that some parts of Siaya is a no-go zone for the governor, then he's lying to himself.
The branch secretary George Okech and youth leader Victor Odero have asked the MPs to resign from ODM as they are working against the party's stand.
Tapata CDF inakuja constituency na pesa ya county inakuja, hata kama huku mpigia kura rais ama ulimpatia kura, hiyo pesa itakuja. Kwa hivyo sisi tuko na pesa ya maendeleo.
And that one we are saying strongly as ODM that let them resign. They cannot represent us in the National Assembly, yet they are in ODM and supporting the agendas of the opponent.
Siaya Governor James Orengo has said that the attempt by the legislators to forge a common front to frustrate ODM party leader Raila Odinga will not succeed, as this will not be the first time such a move has been witnessed.
Stronger, like my colleague and friend Anyang' Nyong'o said, we are determined that even if you are fewer, but we better be better. Fewer but better. But that strategy is not going to succeed.
The debate to push the MPs out of the party has been a subject in every Azimio la Umoja rally, with the faction leaders calling on Raila Odinga not to entertain such characters. Samia Dika, Look Up TV.
Moving on, the National Assembly held its sitting with the debate surrounding the appearing of cabinet secretaries before the House. Top among the agenda, with various members of parliament arguing that the cabinet secretaries should only appear before departmental committees for questioning. Let's take a look.
The other issue I want to support, Madam Speaker, is the issue of CSS coming to the floor of Parliament to answer questions. I'm not supporting this motion for two reasons. I don't support this motion because if we give the CSS the permission to come and answer questions, what will the committees do? The responsibilities of the committee is to actually hold the CSS and answer the questions. But if they come to the floor of the House, then the committees that has been given the responsibility will not have the powers. And so we will be weakening the committees. So,
Madam Speaker, we have been told regarding cabinet secretaries appearing in Parliament will not assist in any way. The committees will be moribund. It is not true at all, because when the CSs come, they will not be able to answer all the questions. So the work of committees will still go on the way it is. It is just that when a CS comes, I remember in the previous Parliament, we changed the standing orders where we accepted that the CSs would come and answer the questions.
The Fenzi Galtana Monument, situated in the Nairobi city centre, is an important national monument that many city residents seem not to pay attention to or its significance. But as Erin John Mukoro reports, the memorial stone is an important historical and longitudinal monument, especially in calculating the travel distance to and from Nairobi city.
Situated on the junction of Kenyatta Avenue and Koinange Street, the Galton Fence Memorial Stone is a remarkable part of the city. But do Nairobians know its significance? Let's find out.
Miliari. Most probably like unaweza sifuatilia nijue nini sina watajuzi bro.
Do you know the significance of this monument?
I really don't know. I've never even noticed it. Yes, I've noticed the other one down the street. But this one I've never noticed.
No, I think it is our culture as Kenyans. We don't really think about monuments a lot.
Okay.
Yes, unless they have direct impact on us as individuals or on the population, I think so.
No, not really, but I'm guessing it's something to do with Islam. It has like Arabic writings, I'm not too sure, something like that.
The Galton Fenzi Memorial Stone was constructed in the year 1937 as a memorial to Lionel Douglas Fenzi, the first person to drive from Mombasa to Nairobi City in the year 1926, who was also the founder of the Automobile Association of Kenya, AAK. Though what many don't know is that the monument is where the distance to and from Nairobi is calculated from, and that's why the monument is referred to as distance zero from Nairobi. This means whenever one calculates the distance to the place they are going or coming from Nairobi, this is where the distance starts and stops.
Well, that's the importance of this longitudinal and historical monument. And next time you tell someone you are searching kilometers from Nairobi, you will know this is distance zero from Nairobi City. Edwin John Mokora, Look Up TV.
President William Ruto has challenged the European Union to undertake a fresh push to conclude the economic partnership agreement with the East African community to expand Kenya's export base with the aim of driving economic growth. The EU is the largest export destination for Kenyan products and its third source of its imports. Kenyans ship flowers and agricultural products to Europe and buy a wide range of manufacturing goods from the European market.
In a two-day forum dubbed Trade and Investment Opportunities in Kenya, the European Union opened trade talks with Kenya to tap into opportunities focused on trade investment in the country. These opportunities are in agriculture, green energy, infrastructure and technology.
Trading with the EU helps Kenya create millions of direct and indirect jobs in tea, coffee, cut flowers and peas value chains, which are our main exports. Kenya and the EU are engaged in a fairly vigorous trade regime. It is only reasonable that as business partners on such a scale, we should be engaging more and engaging all the time.
Kenya ships flowers and agricultural products to Europe and buys manufacturing goods from Europeans.
We are ready to champion and to take the body blows for this very difficult decision. And as a minister in charge of industry, I know I am under pressure from industry asking me, are we really able to industrialize on green? And I've been promised that in that journey we are not alone. And Ambassador has promised me that Europe will open the checkbook as was indeed agreed in Sharm el-Sheikh.
The EU and its member states as major partners have voted to commit to supporting the formulation and the implementation of reforms towards a sustainable economic diversification of the Kenyan economy.
For the first time, the EU and its member states have brought companies from the European Union and Kenya together. In the coming 2 days, more than 700 people will discuss how to increase investment from the EU to Kenya, how to increase trade between the 27 EU member states and Kenya.
The EU is looking at promoting intellectual products from Kenya and from the rest of Africa, as it also calls for Kenya to fight in ending corruption that has curtailed major progress in the country's economic sector. Cecilia Lubanga, Look Up TV.
A story takes us for a short break. Let me ask you, how much is a 2 kg packet of unga the last time you tried to buy it? Could be around 350 shillings now. Could get worse. That's from April. Yeah. That will be telling you exactly how that story looks once we come back then and look at our newspapers this morning. Ian Ketani is joining me in the studio shortly.